Hello there, a very good evening and welcome to another edition of Primetime News on TV1. I'm Charlene Benedict for the Newsfirst team.
And I'm Naveksha Gunasekara. Here are your headlines for tonight.
The headlines on Newsfirst.
Special police probe into Sagara's remarks on IGP assassination. Namal backs Karyavasam's controversial statement. Sajid tables parliamentary proposal based on Ranil's advice at opposition meeting convened following Namal's request. Cabinet approves constitutional and legal reforms to extend judges' retirement age. Appeal court orders fresh trial in Johnston Fernando bribery case. Yoshita Karannagoda and former Minister Duminda face High Court indictments. Sajid is an ineffective opposition leader, says joint opposition. Wet weather expected to intensify from the 6th of August. Heroes welcome for Commonwealth medalists Rumesh Taranga and Palitha Bandara.
On to those stories in detail now. Representatives of the joint opposition today claim that the opposition in Parliament, led by Sajid Premadasa, has failed to fulfill the responsibilities expected of it by the general public.
They further allege that even opposition MPs themselves no longer have confidence in the opposition leader.
The joint opposition held a media briefing this afternoon at the Sambuddhatva Jayanti Mandira in Colombo. Political and civil society representatives who attended the event expressed the following views.
During the presidential election campaign, opposition leader Sajid Premadasa repeatedly said that he would never align himself with those accused of corruption or with those he claimed had damaged the country. He said he would stand independently and pursue his political agenda. However, today we see a different picture. When Namal Rajapaksa calls for a meeting, he attends. When Ranil Wickremesinghe calls for a meeting, he attends. This has become a pattern. Behind these efforts are figures such as Vimal Veeravansa, Udaya Gambanpilla and Duminda Dissanayaka, who are out on bail. As a result, the political position and credibility that the opposition leader once enjoyed have been weakened. We can also see Tamil-speaking opposition politicians meeting the president independently. The reason, in our view, is that they lack confidence in the opposition leader and are pursuing their own alliances. These politicians cannot simply stand in the opposition and keep saying what the government should or should not do. They themselves govern this country. Their parties produced presidents and they held ministerial portfolios. Following the Aragale, the country demanded a new political culture and a new political direction, particularly from the younger generation. What we see today is that many individuals facing investigations, legal scrutiny or political pressure appear concerned about the effective enforcement of the law. The current opposition in Parliament has effectively collapsed. Even within the opposition, there are growing concerns about the effectiveness of its leadership. Instead of presenting a united alternative, what we see are fragmented groups that have now come together because of common fears and political interests. The reason a strong opposition has not emerged is because many of the same political forces that governed the country for decades remain within it. These are individuals, families and political groups that the public associates with the failures of the past. Many of their leaders are facing investigations, court cases, indictments or proceedings before institutions such as the Criminal Investigation Department and the Bribery Commission. As a result, much of their focus appears to be on addressing their own legal and political challenges rather than advocating for the interests of the people. This has created a situation where they are struggling to reconnect with the public and build a credible alternative political movement. A large number of political organizations and civil society groups have joined us today. We believe these groups represent a genuine public voice that seeks accountability, transparency and democratic values. However, while these efforts were being made, groups claiming to represent the opposition, including individuals facing allegations of corruption, fraud and other misconduct, were attempting to protect their own interests and agendas. We support what is right and oppose what is wrong.
The Colombo Central Crimes Investigation Bureau has launched a comprehensive investigation into remarks made yesterday by Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna General Secretary, Attorney-at-Law Sagara Karyavasam, which were interpreted as suggesting the possible assassination of the Inspector General of Police in public.
Cabinet spokesperson Dr. Nalindra Jayatissa said the government views Karyavasam's statement as an extremely serious remark. Meanwhile, a notable development occurred in Parliament today when SLPP National Organizer Namal Rajapaksa voiced support for Karyavasam's statement.
Speaking at a media briefing held yesterday at the SLPP headquarters, Party General Secretary Attorney-at-Law Sagara Karyavasam made remarks that have since triggered widespread controversy.
හිටපු පොලිස්පතිවරු 3 දෙනෙක්ට
3 former inspectors general of police have faced very tragic fates under this Janata Vimukti Peramuna-led government. We also respectfully tell the current Inspector General of Police Priyantha Veerasurya that it is time to stop serving the government and start serving the state and the people, because we do not want him to go down in history as the 37th Inspector General of Police who died after being beaten on the roadside by members of the public.
පොලිස්පතිවරයා 37 වෙනි පොලිස්පතිවරයා හැටියට ඉතිහාසගත වෙනවට.
Addressing the Cabinet Decisions media briefing, the Cabinet spokesperson emphasised that the SLPP General Secretary's statement was a serious matter that warranted investigation. What is implied by that statement is that former MP Sagara Karyavasam appears to be hinting at the possibility of the Inspector General of Police being assassinated in public. That is an extremely serious statement. The current Inspector General of Police is actively leading operations against crime. He is directing the police force in efforts to suppress organized crime, arrest drug traffickers and dismantle underworld networks. The increase in remand prisoners is not happening without reason. It is a direct result of police action against drug trafficking and organized crime, leading to a growing number of arrests and remand orders. In such a situation, when the Inspector General is leading his officers in the fight against organized crime, drug trafficking, black money operations and corrupt political influences, for the General Secretary of a political party or a former member of Parliament to make a statement suggesting that the Inspector General could be assassinated on the roadside is a very serious matter. Therefore, if a statement is made suggesting that the Inspector General of Police could be assassinated in public, the police will inevitably have to investigate not only the statement itself, but also everything surrounding it. Police this afternoon launched an investigation into the remarks made by SLPP General Secretary Sagara Karyavasam relating to the Inspector General of Police. Police stated that the special investigation is being conducted by the Colombo Central Crimes Investigation Bureau. Meanwhile, SLPP National Organizer Namal Rajapaksa today voiced support for Karyavasam's remarks while speaking in Parliament. He made the comments while also warning government MPs. Government MPs subsequently responded to Namal Rajapaksa's remarks.
Think about what happened to previous Inspectors General of Police who acted in the interests of political parties. That is exactly my point. It is a good thing that you have accepted that. Do not leave your Inspector General of Police vulnerable by expecting him to serve your political interests without limits. Don't leave him exposed. Listen carefully to what I am saying. If you know what happened to previous politically influenced Inspectors General of Police, do not allow the same fate to befall your Inspector General. That is exactly what I am saying. Keep talking if you want. Let all 159 of you enjoy yourselves. This is how these things happen toward the end. You can boast here, you can create noise here, and you can knowingly spread falsehoods. But when this administration collapses, do not come crying and try to blame the Rajapaksas. We are not people who run away through the back door. Everyone here knows who we are. So don't prepare yourselves for that. We do not operate in secret. When the time comes, we will face whatever comes.
ඔබතුමාලා මෙතන දඟලන්න පුළුවන්. අවබෝධයෙන් බොරු කියන්නත් පුළුවන්. ඒ රාජ්‍ය කඩම් වැටෙනවට පස්සේ ඇවිල්ලා කෙඳිරි ගන්න එපා. අනේ මෙන්න මේ රාජපක්ෂලාගේ වැඩක් කියලා කෙඳිරි ගන්න ලෑස්ති වෙන්න එපා. මොකද අපි ඔයාලා වගේ මේ පස්සේ දුරින් දුවන අය නෙවෙයි. මෙයාලා දන්නවා. ඔයාලා දන්නවනේ අපි ගැන. ඒ හින්දා ඒවට ලෑස්ති වෙන්න එපා කියලා නියෝජ්‍ය කතානායකතුමනි. අපි හැංගි හොරා වැඩ නැහැ. අපි ඒක වෙලාවම අපි කතා බලාගමු.
The General Secretary of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna is a lawyer. He came before the media and issued what amounts to a death threat against the current Inspector General of Police. This is a death threat. He specifically stated that the Inspector General should act in a way that would prevent him from ending up beaten to death on the roadside. Therefore, we call on the authorities to enforce the law in this matter. At the same time, the so-called Dream President comes to Parliament, makes his speech and leaves immediately afterwards. That is not how a president should conduct himself. He should remain here and answer the questions being raised against him. He made a very interesting statement. He told the current Inspector General of Police to look at what happened to previous Inspectors General and learn from it. But what exactly happened to those former Inspectors General? They suffered the consequences of acting according to political agendas and political interests. Today, however, the Inspector General of Police is properly enforcing the law in this country. What he failed to mention is that it is not only former Inspectors General who have faced legal consequences. Even a former Navy commander received an indictment yesterday after acting according to the interests of the very people now making these arguments. That is how the rule of law operates in this country.
හිටපු නාවික හමුදාපතිත් ඒගොල්ලන්ට ඕන විදිහට වැඩ කරලා අධිචෝදනා පත්‍රයක් බාරගත්තා ඊයේ. එහෙම තමයි මේ රට කරේ.
While the Inspector General of Police continues to lead intensified efforts to combat organized crime and criminal activity, and amid controversy surrounding remarks made by the General Secretary of the Sri Lanka Poduchana Peramuna regarding the IGP, another major political development unfolded today over reforms aimed at addressing delays within the judicial system.
Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa and several opposition parties today requested the Speaker to appoint a parliamentary select committee to obtain proposals aimed at expediting the disposal of more than 1.1 million pending court cases. The move follows advice given by former President Ranil Wickremesinghe during a meeting of opposition representatives convened by Sajith Premadasa at the request of SLPP National Organiser Namal Rajapaksa.
On the 7th of July, following his appearance in a court case being heard against him, SLPP National Organiser Namal Rajapaksa sent a letter to opposition leader Sajith Premadasa requesting that opposition party leaders be convened immediately to oppose the proposal to extend the retirement age of judges. Accordingly, Sajith Premadasa convened a meeting of opposition party leaders and representatives at the office of the opposition leader on the 23rd of July. During the discussion, Ranil Wickremesinghe took a leading role and advised Sajith Premadasa that if the extension of the judicial retirement age was being justified on the basis of reducing delays in court proceedings, then a parliamentary select committee should instead be appointed to formulate proposals to address those delays.
මම විපක්ෂ නායකතුමාට කියන්නේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ එකතු වෙලා යෝජනාවක් එන සුමානේ බාර දෙන්න මේ රටේ මේ නඩු ලක්ෂ 11 විසඳන්න කියලා හොයලා බලන්න තේරුම් කාරක සභාවක්වත් කරන්න. ඉතින් වහාම අද හෙට එක කරොත් සමුද බාර දෙන්න. GLP ඇමතුමාටත් කතා කරගෙන මේ වැඩ කටයුතු කරන්න.
Acting on that advice from Wickremesinghe, a group of MPs led by Sajith Premadasa prepared the proposal and handed it over to the Speaker today.
We are submitting a request for a parliamentary select committee with the signatures of a number of other members of parliament. The issue of approximately 1.1 million pending cases within the judicial system has come into focus. As a collective effort, we have sought a select committee to examine the judicial system, the administration of justice, and the institutions connected to it. We have come here today to present that letter to you.
Sajith Premadasa's proposal received a response from Cabinet spokesperson Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa.
I
do not know whether Sajith Premadasa has suddenly woken up to this issue or whether he acted on the advice of Ranil Wickremesinghe or Namal Rajapaksa. Both of them are lawyers, although Sajith Premadasa is not. Therefore, I do not know whether this move was made based on the advice he received from those two lawyers. This discussion has been taking place in this country for around 11 years since 2015. The Subcommittee on Judicial Reforms, which was established under the Constitutional Assembly appointed by the government-led Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe in 2015, had extensive discussions on this matter and submitted a number of proposals. For example, one proposal was to increase the retirement age of judges in the superior courts to 65 years. judges. There were also proposals to retain their services for a further period if required. A number of such reforms were presented. At the same time, the Bar Association of Sri Lanka also submitted its views on the matter, including the need to increase the retirement age of judges. Therefore, this is a process that has already been subject to extensive discussion both inside and outside Parliament. I do not believe there is any special need to appoint another committee. Parliament itself is the appropriate chamber for debate. Adequate time can be allocated there to discuss and debate matters fully.
ඊට පස්සේ තමයි කොහොමත් මේ ව්‍යවස්ථා සංශෝධනය සහ පනත් සංශෝධනය පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ සම්මත වෙන්නේ.
Cabinet approval was granted yesterday to publish the 22nd Amendment to the Constitution Bill and the Judicature Amendment Bill in the Gazette and submit them to Parliament in order to extend the retirement age of all judicial officers by 2 years. Cabinet spokesperson Minister Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa stated that taking into consideration of the Cabinet papers submitted on several occasions, it was decided to gazette and submit these bills to Parliament, which have been prepared by the legal draftsman and have received a clearance from the Attorney General.
The Attorney General has granted clearance regarding the constitutionality of the 22nd Amendment to the Constitutional Bill and the Judicature Amendment Bill prepared by the legal draftsman. Accordingly, the Cabinet approved the proposal presented by the Minister of Justice and National Integration to publish these amendment bills in the Government Gazette and subsequently submit them to Parliament for approval.
What does the 22nd Amendment to the Constitution entail? The constitutional amendment extends the retirement age of Supreme Court and Court of Appeal judges by 2 years. According to the proposal approved by the Cabinet, the retirement age for Supreme Court judges extended to 67. The retirement age for Court of Appeal judges extended to 65. Additionally, a proposal was submitted to the Cabinet stating that the tenure of the Chief Justice should be 6 years. Another proposal presented to the Cabinet was to increase the number of Court of Appeal judges from 20 to 25 to facilitate the regional establishment of the Court of Appeal. What are the amendments to the Judicature Act? The amendments to the Judicature Act propose the following extensions to retirement ages. Retirement age of High Court judges extended to 63. Retirement age for District Court and Magistrates Court judges extended to 62. A proposal was also submitted to the Cabinet to increase the maximum number of High Court judges from 110 to 120.
ඇමතුමා අපි දැක්කේ අධිකරණ ඇමතුමා සහ ඔබතුමා ගිහිල්ලා මහානායක හිමිවරු හමු වෙනවා. උන්වහන්සේලා මොන විදිහේ මතයක්ද දැරුවේ අපිට ආරච්චි වෙන ජනාධිපතිතුමාට ලියුමක් කියවුවා කියලා.
ඔබතුමාලට පස්සේ ගිහිල්ලා තිබ්බා නීතිඥ සංගමේ සභාපති රජීව අමරසූරිය මහත්තයා. එතුමා පිටතට ඇවිල්ලා කිව්වා මල්වතු නායක හාමුදුරුවෝ කිව්වා ත්‍රිනිකායික මහා සංඝරත්නයේ අර්ශනින් යුතුව ජනාධිපතිතුමාට ලිපියක් යවලා තියෙනවායි කියලා. මේ ව්‍යවස්ථා සංශෝධනයේ නුසුදුසුයි මේක කරන්න එපා කියලා ඉල්ලීමක් කරලා කියලා. ඒ ලිපිය ලැබිලාද මේ වෙද්දී ජනාධිපතිතුමාට?
මහානායක හිමිවරුන් විසින් එව්වායයි කියන ලිපිය සම්බන්ධයෙන් මගේ
I am not aware of any letter that is said to have been sent by the Mahanayaka Theras to the President. The only concern raised by the Mahanayaka Theras of the Malwatu and Askri chapters was whether this constitutional amendment was being introduced to benefit or target a single judge. I believe some individuals had given them that impression. However, after we explained the purpose of the amendment, they accepted our clarification. They also expressed satisfaction that the proposed judicial reforms would provide greater relief to the public by improving the efficiency of the court system.
ජනතාවට සහනයක් ලැබෙනවා කියන එක පිළිබඳව උන්වහන්සේලා සතුටපත් වුණා.
රාජු අමරසේරිය සභාපතිවරයා පැහැදිලිව කියනවා අපි මේ ගැන දැනගන්නේ අප්‍රේල් මාසෙ වෙනකොට ඊට පස්සේ අපිත් එක්ක කතා කරන්න කලින් එකපාරට කැබිනට් තීන්දුවක් ගත්තා කැබිනට් එකට දැම්මා කියලා.
අප්‍රේල් මාසෙදී ඒ ගැන එතුමා දැනගෙන හිටියා නම්
If Rajiv Amarasuriya knew about this in April, then I am not sure on what basis he did, because by that time we ourselves had not decided how these amendments would be pursued. What we had identified was the need for discussions on broader judicial reforms. The government has a public mandate to expedite court proceedings, improve access to justice and strengthen public confidence in the judiciary. We were considering a range of measures including judicial appointments and other reforms. However, there were no discussions in April about a constitutional amendment of this nature. Our focus has always been on increasing the retirement age of all judges as part of wider judicial reform, not on extending the tenure of any individual judge.
While sections of the opposition continue to oppose proposals to extend the retirement age of judges and expand the judiciary, several significant court rulings were delivered today in a number of high-profile cases. Among them was a ruling by the Court of Appeal ordering the reopening of a bribery case in which former Minister Johnston Fernando had previously been acquitted on a technical issue relating to the lack of signatures from all members of the Bribery Commission.
Former Minister Johnston Fernando, former Sirasa Chairman Erod Fernando and former Acting Director Khaja Mohiuddin Mohammed Shakir had been accused of causing a loss of nearly 60 million rupees to the state by deploying a group of Sirasa employees for duties unrelated to their official responsibilities during the period from 2010 to 2014, while paying their salaries and overtime allowances using institutional funds. In 2022, indictments relating to those allegations were filed against the accused before the Colombo High Court. However, the defendants raised preliminary objections arguing that the investigation had commenced without the full approval of the Bribery Commission and that the retrospective application of the Bribery Amendment Act No. 22 of 2018 was unlawful. Based on those objections, the accused were acquitted. Subsequently, the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption filed a revision application before the Court of Appeal seeking to have the case retried. The defendants also filed revision applications opposing the move. The matter was considered by a 5-judge bench of the Court of Appeal comprising Justices P. Kumara Ratnam, D. Thotawatta, K. M. S. Dissanayake, K. P. E. Fernando and Annalingam Premashankar. After considering the submissions, the Court of Appeal granted the revision application filed by the Bribery Commission and ordered that the High Court trial against the accused be resumed. The ruling is being viewed as an important legal guideline regarding the statutory powers of the Bribery Commission when initiating bribery and corruption investigations, as well as the legality of instituting High Court proceedings under the Bribery Amendment Act No. 22 of 2018. Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa's son Yoshida Rajapaksa and former Navy Commando and Admiral of the Fleet Wasantha Karannagoda have been ordered by the Colombo Magistrates Court to appear before the Colombo High Court upon receiving notice. The order was issued today when a case relating to corruption allegations against the suspects was taken up before Colombo Chief Magistrate Asanga S. Bodharagama. During the proceedings, investigators appearing on behalf of the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption informed court that indictments had already been filed against the suspects before the High Court. According to the allegations, between 1st of September 2006 and 8th of June 2007, while serving as commander of the Sri Lanka Navy, Wasantha Karannagoda allegedly caused loss to the state by facilitating the participation of Yoshida Rajapaksa in the Royal Navy Young Officers course conducted at the Royal Naval College in the United Kingdom. High Court indictments have been filed against Karannagoda of allegations that he enabled the arrangement, while Yoshida Rajapaksa has been charged with allegedly obtaining an undue benefit through the said action.
Meanwhile, the Attorney General has filed indictments before the Colombo High Court against former Minister Duminda Dissanayake in connection with the case involving the gold-coloured T-56 assault rifle. In addition, the Attorney General has also filed indictments against Aigul Shagazina, another suspect in the case. Meanwhile, former State Minister Sirasa Chandrakanthan alias Pillayan, who is being detained under the Prevention of Terrorism Act, was further remanded until the 18th of August. The order was issued after the suspect was produced before Batiklo magistrate Annathurai Darshani via video link today. Chandrakanthan appeared before the court remotely from Valisara prison, while the first and second suspects attended the proceedings via video link from Batiklo prison. The case filed by the Criminal Investigation Department concerns 5 murders that allegedly took place in various parts of the Batiklo district in 2008. Former State Minister Sirasa Chandrakanthan and several other suspects have been charged in connection with those killings. Meanwhile, the Attorney General today informed the Court of Appeal that he objects to a series of intervening petitions seeking permission to join an application filed by former State Intelligence Service Director Suresh Saleh. The main petition seeks an order declaring unlawful the detention order under which Saleh is currently being held in connection with investigations into the 2019 Easter Sunday terrorist attacks. 12 intervening petitions filed by several parties, including Venerable Ben Gamwe Nalakathera and National Patriotic Movement convener Dr. Dr. Gunadasa Amarasekara were taken up before a bench comprising President of the Court of Appeal, Justice Rohantha Surya, and Justice Priyamtha Fernando. Appearing for the respondents, Deputy Solicitor General Suharshi Herap informed the court that the Attorney General objects to the intervening petitions being entertained. President's Counsel Manohara De Silva, appearing for Dr. Gunadasa Amarasekara, argued that under the Supreme Court's judgment in SCFR 349/22, any person has the right to intervene in proceedings where it is alleged that the executive has exercised its power arbitrarily. He further submitted that the arrest of former State Intelligence Service Director Suresh Saleh was arbitrary and therefore unlawful. President's Counsel Sanjeeva Jayawardena, appearing for Saleh, told court that he had no objections to the intervening petitioners making their submissions. The petitions are scheduled to be taken up again tomorrow.
This is extreme weather.
The Met Department says a temporary reduction in rainfall is expected today and tomorrow. However, the department forecasts that rainfall is likely to increase again on the 6th, 7th and 8th of August.
Vera Virakon has the details.
Yes, thank you, Charlene and Nawiksha. Now, during the 24-hour period ending at 8:30 a.m. today, the highest rainfall was recorded in Norton, where 258 millimeters of rain was received. Canyon recorded 234 millimeters, while Laksapana recorded 204 millimeters of rainfall. Now, the Director General of the Department of Meteorology provided further details on the expected weather conditions over the coming days.
We expect fairly heavy rainfall of up to 75 millimeters in some areas of the Kandy and Nuwara Eliya districts, as well as parts of the Sabaragamu province today. A few showers are also possible in the North Central province. In addition, fairly strong winds of 40 to 50 kilometers per hour are expected at times over the North Central, Western, Sabaragamu and Central provinces, the Northwestern province and the Gaul and Mathura districts in the Southern province. Although rainfall is expected to ease today and tomorrow, we are currently monitoring a typhoon developing south of Japan in the Pacific Ocean, which is expected to have some influence on Sri Lanka's weather. As a result, rainfall is likely to increase again from the 6th to the 9th of August, particularly in the Kandy and Nuwara Eliya districts of the Central province, the Sabaragamu province and the Gaul and Mathura districts.
Meanwhile, the Director General of the Department of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, Susantha Kahawatha, said the fishing ban imposed due to strong winds and rough seas along the coastal waters from Putlam to Pothuwil remains in effect. The red landslide warning issued for several divisional secretariat divisions in the Kandy, Kegol and Nuwara Eliya districts also remains in effect.
We urge the public to pay close attention to official warnings and act accordingly to ensure their safety. Those travelling on hilly roads should exercise extreme caution. If heavy rainfall occurs, avoid travelling through landslide-prone areas and remain in a safe location until conditions improve before continuing your journey.
Meanwhile, 6,152 people from 1,512 families have been affected by adverse weather-related disasters. The Ministry of Defence said those affected are spread across 47 divisional secretariat divisions in 7 districts. A total of 3,316 people are currently being sheltered at 16 safe locations. The disasters have claimed 6 lives, while 1 person remains missing. The spill gates of the Vimala Surendra, Lakshapana and Canyon reservoirs have been opened due to rising water levels. The Mouse, Calais and Castle Red reservoirs are currently nearing spill level. 4 people were killed after a 2-story house was buried in a landslide at Morahenagama in Polpitia, Ginikathena. Police said the victims were 3 women and 1 man who were inside the house at the time. 2 of the deceased, aged 47 and 83, were residents of the house, while the other 2 victims, a 22-year-old man and a 58-year-old woman, were relatives who had travelled from Marthalee. Traffic along the Hatton-Colombo main road has been restricted to a single lane at Batakitta Kipulgala following a landslide. The Hatton-Colombo main road, which had been blocked since the early hours of today due to an earth slip at Woodland Hatton, has now been reopened. The Colombo-Kandy main road, which had been closed in the Mavanella area, was reopened early this morning. The Gampula-Dolosbagi road was blocked today after an earth embankment collapsed in Pahalagal Pyre. Several low-lying areas in Gampula were inundated by floodwaters yesterday, with water levels remaining high in some locations. These are the flood damages caused to the Morogolla hydropower project in Gampula, which is currently under construction. Many residents who were living in low-lying areas along the Mahaveli River have now been relocated to safe shelters. Compared with yesterday, the water level of the Mahaveli River has fallen significantly today. While all 10 spill gates of the Polgolla Mahaveli Dam were opened yesterday, only 4 spill gates remain open today.
This is extreme weather.
Sri Lanka has received a donation of 500 litres of technical-grade malathion from the Government of India to support the country's dengue control program.
The Government of India has donated 500 litres of technical-grade malathion insecticide to Sri Lanka to further strengthen ongoing dengue control programs across the country. The donation was officially handed over today to Minister of Health and Mass Media Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa by Indian High Commissioner to Sri Lanka Santosh Jha at the Ministry of Health and Mass Media.
පසුගිය කාලේ පුරා ලංකාවේදී මැලතින් හිඟයක් පැවතුනේ. ඉතින් අපි මේ ඩෙන්ගු වසංගත තත්වයේදී මේ දුමායන කටයුතු සඳහා අවශ්‍ය කරන මැලතියන් ලබා දීම සඳහා ඉන්දියානු රජයෙන් ඉල්ලීමක් කරා. එල්ලීමට ශනික ප්‍රචාරයක් දක්වපු ඉන්දියානු රජයේ ඉන්දියානු මහා කොමසාරිස් කාර්යාලය හරහා මේ වන විට දින කිහිපයක් ඇතුළතදී අපිට මැලතියන් ලීටර් 500ක් ලබා දීලා තිබෙනවා. මේක අපිට අපේ ඩෙන්ගු මර්ධන කටයුතු වලට විශාල පහසුවක් වේවි.
Malathion is an organophosphate insecticide recommended by the World Health Organization for vector control programs and has been used internationally for several decades in efforts to combat disease-carrying mosquitoes.
We are always glad to be of any assistance to the friendly people of Sri Lanka, particularly in this time when they are suffering from dengue, and the request came from the government of Sri Lanka. I'm also glad that the Indian company in this case has been able to deliver in very quick time. We were approached on 13 July and on 27 this delivery came to Sri Lanka and we have handed it over and now it will be put to good use. It is only to fill up naturally the gap that exists, which I am sure the government of Sri Lanka is in the process of obtaining larger quantities for greater use around the country. But dengue is a major health scare, and as always, as a friendly country, as a country that is next door, we are very happy that we could come to Sri Lanka's assistance.
The Health Ministry noted that scientific studies have confirmed that dengue-carrying mosquitoes in certain parts of the country have developed resistance to some insecticides currently in use, making insecticide management and the introduction of alternative chemicals an important component of the National Dengue Control Strategy. Accordingly, the donated stock of technical-grade malathion is expected to be utilized in targeted fogging operations in high-risk areas to rapidly reduce populations of adult dengue-transmitting mosquitoes.
World News.
Europe is battling record-shattering heat waves and deadly wildfires.
Riara Virakon brings us the details.
Yes, Charlene and Noviksha, now Europe's brutal heat wave has already sparked record-breaking temperatures, deadly wildfires and mass evacuations. Now a new crisis looms, an energy shortage.
The Hungarian Prime Minister warned on Monday that the hottest 5 days are ahead as the country's sole nuclear power station teeters on the verge of shutdown due to record low water levels in parts of the Danube River. Water from the Danube is used to cool the reactor core and other crucial components, preventing a meltdown in the facility, which produces nearly half of the country's electricity. Even after a shutdown, the plant would continue to need large amounts of water to avert a nuclear accident. the expected closure of the park's nuclear power plant for the first time since the facility came online 44 years ago risks a widespread energy crisis. In Romania, authorities are also attempting to divert water from parts of the Danube toward one of the country's key nuclear power plants, notably by using controlled explosions. Parts of the Danube, Europe's second largest river, which winds through 10 countries, have shrunk to unprecedented lows amid the record heat, including in Hungary and neighboring countries. A zoo in Tokyo says 3 lions have died. Veterinarians suspect they had a heat stroke. In mid-July, 10 out of the 16 lions at Tama Zoological Park fell ill, with some unable to stand and others losing their appetites. Although staff tried to treat the animals by cooling their bodies and administering medication, a 3-year-old female lion died on the 28th of July. She was followed by an 11-year-old female lion on the 31st of July and another 15-year-old female lion on the 2nd of August. The zoo said the cause of death will not be determined until after the test results are available. But pathological autopsy findings have shown generalized dehydration and multiple organ failure in all 3 lions. 3 other lions remain under treatment. The zoo said it takes the deaths seriously and that it will continue treating the remaining lions showing symptoms and manage their health. It says it has yet to decide when to resume the lion exhibit. Amid continued scorching heat across South Korea, an extreme heat warning was issued across all areas of Seoul on the 4th of August. Today, the extreme heat is forecast to continue, especially in the western area of Seoul, Gwangju and Daejeon, hitting around 37 degrees. Heat wave alerts have also been expanded and strengthened. With heat wave alerts in effect across most of the country, Seoul, across all regions, issued its first ever severe heat alert at 11 a.m. today. The heat will intensify further and persist throughout this week.
Sri Lankan sports witnessed another historic day today.
Sandro Ferdinando is ready to bring us more details.
That's right, Shalan and Naveksha. After a 20-year hiatus, javelin thrower Rumesh Tharanga, who won a gold medal for Sri Lanka at the Commonwealth Games, and Palitha Bandara, who secured a silver medal in the paradiscus throw event, arrived in the country today. They received a warm welcome at the Bandaranaike International Airport in Katunayake. Let's take a look.
This is the moment that we all have been waiting for, a very historic moment, a proud moment, a moment that we can remember for years as we are witnessing the arrival of Rumesh Tharanga, Palitha Bandara, who made Sri Lanka proud at this year's Commonwealth Games. And as we can see, the airport is filled with a lot of supporters, family members, authorities who have gathered here to welcome all the athletes, and also the golden boy Rumesh Tharanga, who won a gold medal after 20 years here for Sri Lanka in Commonwealth Games, and also Palitha Bandara, who won his 2nd consecutive silver medal at Commonwealth Games. So this is the situation right here, and as we can see, it's filled with a lot of family members, a lot of supporters as they are welcoming, because this is a very proud moment for Sri Lankans, a proud moment for Sri Lankan athletes, and also a proud moment for all the Sri Lankans, because this is a historic gold, a historic silver. Sri Lanka claimed a historic gold medal at the Commonwealth Games after 20 years.
The 2026 Commonwealth Games were held in Glasgow, Scotland. At the Games, javelin thrower Rumesh Tharanga won the gold medal, defeating a number of top athletes, including former Olympic champion Neeraj Chopra of India. Rumesh's victory entered the record books as Sri Lanka's first Commonwealth Games gold medal in athletics after 76 years, and also the country's first ever Commonwealth gold medal in the javelin throw event. A group including Deputy Minister of Sports Sugat Tilakaratne, officials from the Ministry of Sports and family members of the athletes were present at the Bandaranaike International Airport in Katunayake to welcome the medal winners.
Asian Games තියෙනවා තව දවස් 12කින් මම
The Asian Games are also coming up. In another 12 days, I will be competing in European events, including 3 Diamond Leagues and the World Ultimate Championships. I have 5 more competitions scheduled for this year, and my only goal is to win gold medals in all 5 of them. Ever since my school days, I have been waking up at 4 a.m. and dedicating myself to sports because I have a great passion for athletics. In fact, I love all sports. I always believed that I could reach a level like this one day, but I never expected to get here so quickly. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the Sri Lanka Air Force. Their support has been exceptional, especially by releasing me from my duties and allowing me to focus on my sporting career and continue moving forward.
ඇත්තටම ශ්‍රී ලංකා ගොඩ හමුදා ලොකු දෙයක් කරනවා මොකද මාව ඩියුටි රිලීස් කළා මගේ ක්‍රීඩා වැඩවලට ඉදිරියට යන්න එයාලගෙන් හම්බෙන දායකත්වය ඇත්තටම ඉතාමත්ම විශිෂ්ටයි.
Meanwhile, para-athlete Palitha Bandara won the silver medal in the men's F42-44, F61-64 discus throw event.
This is a medal that should be celebrated by everyone in Sri Lanka. I did not win this only for myself. I won it as a representative of my country. The feeling of seeing the Sri Lankan flag raised on the field is beyond words. If not for the Sri Lanka Army, especially my regiment, the Sri Lanka National Guard, I would not have been able to reach this position. They worked extremely hard to support me. I train in Colombo and I am sincerely thankful to everyone who helped me achieve this.
And that's a wrap of Primetime News on TV1 for tonight.
Thank you for watching.
Good night.